assembled company, wherever you are in this big wide world, on whatever time it is, welcome. And we have with us the son of Glasgow himself, probably the most important person that ever came out of Glasgow. I know there are many names that have come out of Glasgow, many that will trip up your tongue, but the most important, the king of Glasgow, the king of this is Michael Kerins himself. After you, Michael. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, John. You're the only member on the screen at the moment that doesn't have a royal title. We've got Sir King Louis, King Michael of Glasgow, and ordinary John hiding in a hostel in Romania. So I'm going to tell you a story that I wrote myself. And if it's possible, if we can share the screen, I'll show you some pictures from the book that's going to come out of it. Scotland's a very cold place in the winter and a very wet place. And unusually, Edinburgh at this time was wetter than Glasgow. The west of Scotland is generally wetter than the east of Scotland. Same with the west of England, generally wetter than the east of England. In Edinburgh this particular day, it was really bucketing down. There was roadworks, they're putting in trams. Everything was just a bit chaotic. And Julie and her mother and her wee sister went onto the bus. They went upstairs in the bus, upstairs in the bus, upstairs in the bus, 7 times, 8 times, 10 steps up in the bus until they got onto the top of the bus. And the bus was packed. And everybody was wet. The bus was even wet inside from streaming water down the windows. It was a really cold and miserable day. And Julie and her sister went into the window seat and the mother sat on the passage. And suddenly there was a diversion away from Princess Street, the main place, into a little side street. And the traffic stopped. And the traffic started. And the traffic stopped. And the traffic started. Stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And just at that, Julie looked out of the window of the bus and she saw in a charity shop a teddy bear. And it was a sad, sad teddy bear. It was pulled to the one side, had a down mouth, he had a missing eye. And Julie wanted to have this bear. This was a bear that needed a hug, not just an ordinary hug, an actual Julie kind of hug, a real proper hug. So she said, oh, mommy, we need to go off the bus. I need to go and rescue this bear. And just at that, the bus started and kept going. And the mother said, we're nowhere near, this is a diversion. I don't even know the name of the street. We're not getting off the bus at the moment. So Julie went into a kind of silent worry about this bear. Really, I mean, like a kind of a deep worry. She fidgeted with her food. She put the soup in her mouth, not in her mouth, in her mouth, not in her mouth. She had a sandwich that she didn't really eat. And when it was bedtime, her daddy came to tell her a story. And he said, which book do you want? And she said, I don't mind. Well, Julie always had this idea that she did mind about the story. She liked to pick a particular story for a particular event. Maybe an adventure story, maybe a treasure hunting story, maybe a fairy story, maybe a folk tale. I'm worried about that wee bear, Daddy, she said. I'm really worried about that bear. That bear needs me. Well, the dad said, well, you know, I have a job. I've got some money. I can buy you a bear. So the next day, the dad went into the toy shop and he bought several bears. He bought 3 bears in one. Daddy bear, a mummy bear, and a little baby bear. And just to go with it, he bought a doll. It was kind of all part in the same set with long ringlety things like this all down her hair, like this. And she was rather a beautiful doll. He bought a wee tiny bear. He bought quite a big bear. He bought, let's call it several bears were bought. And that was fine. And he brought them home. And Julie showed no interest in them at all. She said, Daddy, you don't understand. I want to get my own money, and I want to go to that shop and I want to buy it. So the dad asked the mum, where was the shop? Well, nobody knew. So they went back into town on the same bus, and the diversion had been removed. So the bus went straight along Princess Street. But it was that one of these streets we went. Oh, that one's one way, the wrong way, and that one's one way. And there was no charity shop there. There's nothing like that. The next street, same again, and the same again. Eventually, they found the charity shop. Closed. Opens on Tuesday, 9 o'clock. Well, Tuesday at 9 o'clock, well, that was a school day and a school time, so they had to wait till lunchtime. And at lunchtime, when her mum came to pick her up, just as luck would have it, the bear was there in the window. And there was kind of like, it was not even in any way remotely a fancy display. There was a chipped teapot. There was a lopsided vase. It was a pretty scrappy shop. And Julie took her money box and she said, I want to get the bear in the window. 20 pence. Well, that sounded quite a lot of money to Julie. And she said, 20 pence? Yeah. Mum, have I got 20 pence in my money box? Have I got that? Oh, yeah. I think she said you've got, I think, more than that anyway. So the money box was opened and the coins were taken out and 20 pence was given over to the woman in the shop. Julie's mum was shocked, like this at the bear. The bear was really kind of, I'm just going to say this, Louis, please don't be upset. The bear was ugly. The bear was damp. The bear was kind of broken and really it was just fit for the bin. And Julie hugged that bear. And I'm going to just tell you this. That bear hugged Julie back. And she said, this is the bear for me. And the mother said, I don't want that bear in the house. It's dirty. It's damp. It's been sitting in the window in the wet, the condensation, and a wee puddle. The bear was brought home. The bear was leaking. Stuffing was coming out of the bear. It had to be washed. It was put in a sock bag in there. And what's in the sock bag, Julie felt a bit claustrophobic. And then it was put in the washing machine and went round and round and round and round and round and round. And Julie was dizzy. She had some kind of like, oh. And then the bear was hung up on the clothesline by the ears. And Julie got sore ears. She got sore ears. Her ears were really, really sore. She said, oh, Mum, I love this. Oh, when will he be well? When will he be well? Well, some time passed and the bear eventually dried out. And then the mother noticed a missing eye. The bear's wonky. We need to go to the doll hospital to get a missing eye. Now, the doll's hospital has tens of thousands of eyes for dolls. Not just any doll, not just any eye. A teddy's eye must match the teddy's eye that's there. And they looked and they looked. And some people could tell you they even scrutinized those eyes until they got the bear the correct eye. And then it was put in. And it went in like that and out with a little needle. And when that happened, Julie got a sty in her eye and her eye was sore and sore, as sore could be. But when the eye was in, her eye was better. Well, everything was lovely. Everything was perfect. But the bear had lost some of the stuffing. So the mum started to stuff the bear's chest. And as she did this, right there, it ripped open. And Julie's heart was broken. They had to go back to the Dolls Hospital to get some of this special material that quality teddy bears. This had been a quality teddy bear. This was a pedigree. I have to go back to the hospital to get some of this stuff. Couldn't get any. Couldn't get any of it anywhere. Couldn't get any of it anywhere. I don't want that. Julie said, I want it to be the proper thing. And that's too dark. That's too rough. That's too, no, it's not, that's too soft. That's kind of fluffy. This is a rough, tough bear. We want a bit of rough, tough material for it. They searched high and low. They searched all over the place. They even put adverts on social media to find the right kind of material for this bear, and they couldn't get it. Julie's mum had a look in her sewing basket, and there, in the sewing basket, she saw, as clear as Mike Faherty's, as red as Mike Faherty's suit there, a piece of velvet, red as red could be. And the mother took it and she sewed it here. She sewed it up and round and down. And it went heart-shaped. And it was really cool. And it was just so lovely. And she said, you know, oh, mummy, this is the best. This is the very, very best teddy that ever has been. And with his body washed and his repair made and his eye fixed and his chest sewn up, all that was needed was a smile. The mother took a little needle, tied a knot in it, and started to sew. And as she sewed and sewed and sewed and sewed and sewed and sewed, up came the most lovely smile on this teddy. I tell you, you'd think the teddy had just heard the best joke ever. Magnificent. And Julie said, do you know what all this bear needs now? A scarf. And the mum knitted a scarf, knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one. And she gave that scarf to Julie and a matching scarf for the teddy. And they set off on their adventures. And their adventures took them to, well, lots of other stories that maybe I'll tell you another time. But that's the end of Julie's Teddy Takes Heart. So if I can share my screen, is that possible? Can the host enable me to share my screen?
I'm not sure how possible that is. I think if we'd warned Waleed in advance, it might have been possible. But Waleed might be serving tea right now.
Okay, do you have a message? Can you message Waleed and I'll tell another story and then we'll come back and I'll show you some lovely pictures for this new picture book.
Okay.
Can you do that? It doesn't matter. It's not important. If you can, it's just nice to see the pictures.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll go on with the next story. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
So the next story is called The King's Horse. Once upon a time, there was a man who had the smelliest job ever. It was the job in the palace stables. And he worked in the palace stables as the cleaner. And he had to clean out all of the area where the horses and some other animals did the toilet. All the poo, all the pee, everything was there. And it was a dirty job, but it was a smelly job, and he was unhappy doing it. And he got fed up with it. He said, do you know what I want to do? I want to teach the king's horse to talk. But he can't talk to the king because he's a very low-class servant, and only kind of prime ministers and ambassadors and members of the royal family speak to the king. So how can the lowest of the low speak to the king? Well, of course he didn't. What he did was he had a word with his boss, and his boss said, right, okay, we'll see. I don't think the king's going to let you talk to him, but I'll see what I can do. So things went on, life went on, everybody got on with what they had to do. And then the king heard one of his ambassadors or helpers or advisors, one of these people, saying that there's a man downstairs can teach horses to talk. Teach horses to talk. Well, I've never heard the like of it. I can do that. Or I can try doing that. So then the guy got organized, and he got taken to see the king, and everybody there in that special place in the high up apartment said, he can't go in like that. He's dirty. Well, he's not dirty. He's filthy. Well, he's not filthy. He's a disgrace. Well, he's not dirty. He's not filthy. He's not a disgrace. He is a shambles. That he needs cleaned up. He needs to get washed. He needs to get shampooed. He needs to get fresh clothes. And that happened, and he went in to see the king. And then when he went in to see the king was sitting there all grand like this. Blah, 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 blah. I'm the king. Ha, ha, I'm the king. It's marvelous being the king. And the king said, okay, let's do it. What is it you want? He said, well, Majesty, I think I should quite like to try and teach your horse to talk, one of your horses to talk. Ridiculous. Well, it might seem ridiculous, Majesty, but once you understand the conditions, the king was furious. Conditions? You, the lowest of the low, dare to give me, the king, the highest of the high, you're going to give me conditions. Yeah, well, I'm not giving you conditions, Majesty. I'm just saying that there are conditions. That's just the way of it. Majesty, do you mind if I look out the window? There were 4 sets of windows in each wall in the palace. So he went to the window at the north, and he said, there to the north, King Norman lives there. I think he's your cousin, if I'm not mistaken. King Norman of the Mountains. Does he have a talking horse? No, I don't think so, said the king. Majesty, can I go to the look at this window to the south where it's King Simon is there? Does he have a talking horse? And he looked out the window to the south, and there was no sign of the kingdom because it was so far away. He said, Majesty, away there, that's King Simon. He's some kind of cousin of your mother's or something like that. He's a relative of yours. Yeah, yeah. Does he have a talking horse? No, I don't think so. What about King Edward of the East? Does King Edward of the East, that's the land with all the great wheat. Does Edward of the East, that marvelous farmland, does he have a talking horse? Well, I don't think so, said the king. Might be something to do with the conditions. Don't talk to me of conditions, said the king. They're a disgrace to mention conditions to me, the lowest of the low, and I am the highest of the high. And you give me conditions? I don't give you anything. I'm just telling you like it is. You know, you asked me to come here. There are conditions. And what about in the West? King Voldemar of the Marshy Islands, does he have a talking horse? Well, he does not, said the king. And I know that for a fact, for I visited him last week or the week before. There was a wedding there and I saw him. So who then can we have? Well, the thing, said the king, the thing is that what are these conditions? He said the conditions are threefold and they're quite straightforward. Majesty, you should pick the horse. And why should I pick the horse, said the king. I'm the king, I have servants. Majesty, please may explain the conditions. They're not my conditions, they are the conditions. And I'm not bossing you, I'm just telling you the conditions. If you pick the horse, Majesty, then nobody can say there's jiggery-pokery. Nobody can say that I'm cheating. Nobody can say that I'm up to something, because people like to say that. Okay. What's the second condition? You should pay money. Money, said the king. I have lots of money. What's the price? He said, 1 gold coin a week on a Thursday around this time of day for 9 years. 9 years, said the king. And he banged the table. 9 years? It's absurd. Well, Majesty, can I look out the window to the north and south, to the east and west? Because these are the conditions that were not fulfilled by your cousins and brother kings. Okay, said the king. The third condition is it takes 9 years. 9 years. A gold coin every Thursday. And I pick the horse. It's a deal, said the king. But I'm intrigued to see, the man said to the king, I'm intrigued to see which horse you're going to pick, Majesty. Which horse will you pick? And they went down along, down along, down along, down along, down along, down along, until they came to the stables. Leave us be, said the king. And all the grooms and all the servants and all the helpers in the stables. So the toilet cleaner man and the king go in almost as friends. And when they got there, they looked at all, the king had loads of horses, over 34 horses he had. And he said, yeah, that one, this one. And he picked a mare, and she was pretty good horse. She was really very fine, 17 and a half hands high, a big horse, powerful, healthy. Majesty, he said, this is a good choice. I congratulate you, Majesty. And he bowed, and he thanked, and he smiled, and put his hand out for a gold coin. Now, the king didn't have any money. Kings don't carry money. They don't need to carry money because they have servants to carry money. But there were no servants in the stables. He said, well, Majesty, these are the conditions. You pick the horse, you pay the gold coin, and you wait 9 years, and you'll have a talking horse. The king clapped his hands, and a money bringer brought a 1 gold coin, put into the man's hands. He said, thank you, Majesty. I'll take the horse now, and I'll start training immediately. And I'll come back at this time next Thursday and give you a report on progress and let you know how everything's going. So he climbed on his horse, and he rode away from the castle, away from the royal stables, right out towards the town. But when he came to the town, he didn't go left the way he should go towards his house. He went to the right, and there on the right, he went into a tailor shop, and he bought a fine red velvet jacket with white long cuffs. He bought a white collar for his neck, and he bought a big hat, bigger than John Rowe's hat, bigger than any hat John Rowe has ever had. A massive hat with a big wide brim and a feather that said, "Yee-haw!" It was a magnificent hat with a magnificent feather. Oh, said the man, I feel mighty proud. He gave over the gold coin. He got some things in exchange. He got some change. He got some flowers for his wife. The collar, the hat, and the feather that said "Yeehaw," and the white cuffs and the red velvet. He looked really like a magnificent nobleman, and he rode away from the centre of the town towards where he lived on the smelly outskirts, where it's a disgraceful slum. And when he got there, he called to his wife, "Wife, wife, come and see what great fortune has befallen us. You and me, we are in the land of milk and honey." And his wife came out. She recognized his voice and she looked here and there and, "Husband, husband, I hear your voice, but where are you? Where are you?" "Up here on the horse." And she looked up and there was a nobleman, posh, wealthy, handsome, with long white cuffs, a collar, a big hat with a wide brim and a feather that said, "Yee-haw!" like this. "A great fortune has befallen us. I have a job and I'm going to teach the king's horse to talk." "Husband, are you magic? Can you teach horses to talk?" "Stupid woman. Nobody can teach horses to talk, but we're in the land of clover for the next 9 years. 9 years, said the wife. "Yeah, I go and see the king every week and I'll give him a report on this horse." But my husband, my darling husband, right? You are so handsome and so clever. What happens after 9 years? You can't teach horses to talk. What happens after 9 years? After 9 years, well, he scratched his chin and he thought about it and he said, 9 years? 9 years, a lot can happen in 9 years. 9 years, the king can die. 9 years, I could die. But let me tell you this, darling wife, we have the land of milk and honey for 9 years, because if the king doesn't die, and I don't die in that time, the horse surely will. That's the story of the man who outsmarted the king. So John has kindly sent me a message to say that I can now share my screen. So let's see what's happening here. And let's see what's happening here. And let's see what's happening here. So here's Julie. And there's her Teddy. So this is them on the bus. This is Princess Street in Edinburgh, and they're going along and they go upstairs on the bus. And they're looking out of the window and you can just see there the word diversion. I'll put my cursor over there. Do you see that, Louis? Diversion. The bus is crowded and the wee girl's looking out of the window. And then she sees, there you go. There's the bear. And she's looking out and she sees the bear and her heart just melts. And there he is, a sorry, sad excuse of a bear, lopsided, one-eyed, wonky. Beside broken things. So the daddy goes and buys all the fancy bears you can imagine, wrapped up with bows, the mummy bear, daddy bear, and baby bear from the you-know-what story of Goldie You-Know-Who. Casual bears, relaxed bears, every kind of bear was there, but she wouldn't have it. She had to have this. And then she got sore ears. Ow. Then she got the heart. Oh. And I think that's all the pictures I've got to show you. I hope you liked seeing them. Hi, Despina. You've just come in at the end of a story there called Julie's Teddy Takes Heart, where a little girl gets a teddy bear given to her. Hey, that she buys a little teddy bear in the charity shop, and it's a shambles and pretty much a disgrace. So that was it. That was it. Okay. So The next story is called The Little Judge. A while ago, here in Glasgow, there was a football match kind of game going on. Not really a match. It was kind of just a kind of more of a scramble of boys playing with a ball. The ball was handmade from a bladder of an animal, and it was wonky, and it didn't roll true. And then it happened that Mike Flaherty's asking, was it a Prestige bear, British made? It was tartan bears made in Scotland. Anyway, back to my story. So to the side of them, there was a little boy who wasn't playing the game. He wasn't crippled in any way, nothing like that, but he didn't join in. And beside that, there was a judge making preparations to have his lunch as a picnic outside of his court. And the man would speak to the little boy and said, "How are you today?" And they chatted. And then when he saw the little boy, he saw that his eyes were wonky, that he was blind, and he waved his hands in front of him, and the boy didn't flinch. A blind child can't play football with rowdy boys. Now, it happened that across town, there were two shops separated by a wooden wall right up the middle. On one side of the wall, there was a pharmacy. On the other side, there was a bakery. And the shops were chalk and cheese, as chalk and cheese could be. The baker was up early in the morning. He had to prepare fires. He had to light all the stuff. He had to have yeast improving for the next day or the day after that, and so on. You had mixtures to make. Everything had to be fresh and prepared, and lots and lots and lots of cleaning of pots and baking tins and all this stuff. On the other side of the wall was the pharmacy. Well, he didn't come into the shop until 9 o'clock, and often a bit later. And he didn't make anything until people came in to say, "My belly aches. Oh, my belly aches. My head aches. Oh, my head aches. I've got a sore. I've got a sore throat. Can you help me?" And he would go into the back and make up mixtures and potions and tablets and creams and all kinds of remedies on demand as the people came to get the things. Well, that was fine. That was easy. That was just a straightforward way to do it. These men were also chalk and cheese. The baker was happy and jolly and fat and very always smiling. "Oh, good morning, Despina, come in, come in. Sir King Louis, welcome to my shop. I've got fresh apple cakes just for you. Would you like one? Have a bit to taste." The pharmacist was dour and sullen. That was it. At 5 o'clock, both shops closed. The pharmacist then would not go home. He didn't go home. And his neighbor next door, he started to get curious. What is he doing in that shop when there's no customers? He got a little device, a little corkscrew, and he screwed onto this wall. The wall was wooden, and he screwed and screwed and screwed and screwed and screwed until he got a little peephole. And he peeped in, and he saw the most beautiful brown leather drawstring purse. And inside that purse, there were 28 golden coins. The pharmacist was a miser. And every year, with his profits from his business, he bought one new friend. And he loved these coins, and he spoke to them. There was coins there from Romania, John. There was coins there from Greece. There was a coin from China with a hole in it from the time, in the ancient times, when the Chinese had some kind of adding machines. There was two coins from France, King Louis as a boy. King Louis is an old man. There was a Pope from Rome. There was ancient Roman coins. There was coins there with back-to-flint letters from Russia. All these different coins and things and devices were there, 28 of them. And he knew each of these coins by name, and he loved them. He loved them. He loved them. And he brought them out to a little party and he put them on the table, and each coin was just perfect. Mary, Queen of Scots, was there. Marie, Reine d'Écosse. Oh, bonsoir, Majesty, he would say, and put the coin down. And then he would bless himself when he brought out the coin from the Pope. He quoted Latin. Das очень приятно, Tsar Nikolaevich, as he brought out the coin from Russia. And all these things were put there, and they were just lovely. Then he had a little party, a snack, cake, sandwiches. Sometimes, not all the time, maybe once a month, he would have a wine, this little wine. It's a party after all. Why not? My friends are here. Why not just to enjoy the party? Let's go. And the conversation flowed between the coins and the man and the coins. And then it was time for bed. Bonsoir, Marie, Reine d'Écosse. Sogni d'oro, golden dreams for the Italians in Rome. All the coins went back in. And that was it. He closed the bag, put them in the desk drawer, and went home. Sometimes that was after 9 o'clock at night, but that next door, the baker was still working because he had cleaning and preparations, and he had to get wood in for the fire and all this stuff. It was just going on forever. The baker became obsessed by the coins. He had to have them. And he stopped working at night. He peeped into that little hole like this. And he saw these coins. And he heard the stories. Every night for a year and a day, he knew the stories off by heart. He didn't just want these stories. He had these coins. He had to have them. He had to have the bag. He had the coins. He had the stories in his head, but he didn't have the coins. Now, it was a thin wall. He could just bash in. But that would involve a crime, and the police would be involved, and that was no use whatsoever. So he thought about it. And then he decided how he knew he was going to get it. One day, in the middle of the day, when the baker's was kind of quiet, all the breakfast stuff was gone, the lunchtime stuff hadn't just started, that kind of time around 11 o'clock, where there's seldom a queue in the shop, he ran out into the street and shouted, "Help, help, I've been robbed, I've been robbed, help, I've been robbed." And the policeman came. Big, broad, fat. He liked very much the baker guy, and he said, "What's happened? What's happened? You've been robbed." "Yeah. Look." And he took him into the shop, turned the little sign over, closed, flicked the lock, and took him into the back shop. Opened his desk drawer and showed him nothing. "Look," he said. "Oh, I don't see anything." "That's the point. You are a smart cop." I had 28 gold coins in a little brown leather drawstring purse, and they're gone. Can you see that they're gone? I can see that they're not there, Mhm. This is a description, and he gave the description of the boy King Louis. It was the old man King Louis. He gave the dates of the coins of Mary Queen of Scots, and every piece, every scrap of information, and meticulously the constable wrote it down. And as he was writing it down, fresh bread was brought forward, cake was brought forward, a little scone as well. Take a note, take a note, take a note, take another note. And the 28 coins were all given there. That was that. And who do you think could have stolen these? There's no sign of a break-in. The window's not been smashed. The back door's fully secure. Just saying, look at that. There's a spy hole. Somebody has been spying on me. So the liar and dishonest but jolly man gave the whole false information to the police. That was that. The policeman went out of the shop, the little bell rang, turned left and left again and into the pharmacy, and the bell rang there. Be there in a minute, said the pharmacist. Doer, grumpy, honest miser, an honest man, a miser. I'm investigating a robbery. Yeah, I heard the shouting. Oh, that was awful. Much taken. I'll ask the question, said the policeman. I'm interested in a brown leather drawstring purse with 28 gold coins in it. Do you know anything about this? Yes, he said. Yes, I have one. I have one here. And he brought this in. He opened the desk drawer and there was the purse with all of the coins. And he said, look what's happening. There's Mary Queen of Scots. There's the Pope. There's the Tsar. There's stuff from ancient Greece. There's stuff from Romania. King Louis, there was 2 King Louis coins there mentioned actually in the story. And it was there as evidence. You're a thief. Bye, darling boy. So that was it. So there was a dilemma. And that dilemma was a happy, dishonest, horrible man who steals and a grumpy miser who's telling the truth. How to decide it. And the policeman said, well, I'm not deciding this. This is going to the courts. And it went to the very court. And the judge, who was used to speaking to the little blind boy, was discussing the case with himself, just talking to himself. An honest man is telling the truth, and the dishonest man is telling the lie. And how do you know who's who, what's what? And the little judge said, so I'm sorry, Your Honor, what are you talking about? And the judge told the little boy about this case that had come up before him to make a judgment between the 2 men and 28 gold coins. Well, I can solve that case. And he told him how to solve it. He said, will you come to me, come with me into my court and tell that very evidence, put it there and solve the case. And so, of course, he did. What he did was he said to the judge, the big judge, put on his wig. Everything was settled. The judgment was there. And he said to the clerk of the court, give my assistant judge all the help that he will need. Everything he requests should be granted. Order in the court. Order in the court. Order in the court. And the little judge said, I would like 4 containers of water. 1 with cold water, one with warm water, one with hot water, and one with boiling water. And it was done. And they were put in the middle of the court on the floor. And a table was brought over. And the coins were stacked in any order, right? No, nothing at all. No, this one or that one. They were stacked in little piles, 7 coins, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There you go. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There you go. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There you go. And the same again for the 4th pile. And then the little judge went over and tipped them each bundle into one vessel of water. Cold, warm, hot, and the boiling. And he waited less than a minute. He started to smell. And then he went over to the containers of water and he looked at them. And you could smell the most wonderful tinctures of eucalyptus, citronella, all the fine medicines and herbs and spices that pharmacists use to sort headache or sore throats or sore bellies. Oh, my belly's sore. That needs ipecacuanha. What a smell was there in the court. And then he looked closely, and there was no film of powder there, of flour. And the little judge, who was a blind boy, said, "You know, Your Honor, sometimes evidence there, and it can't be seen. And that's the perfect evidence to give to a little judge who's blind. These belong, and always have belonged, to the pharmacist." That's the story.
Michael, that was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 3 fantastic stories.
Good.
And some marvelous illustrations as a bonus. Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Mike Faherty. I love your name, Faherty. That was no, it's nice. So I write children's books, and I don't have any, of course, I don't have any here. That's what authors do. They don't have any books bloody with them. I was struggling today to find a piece of paper. I'm in my daughter's house, struggling today to find a piece of paper and a pen. I don't even know where the pen is now. And that was how I could write my script for what I was going to tell you. But that was the thing. So no, I like that little teddy bear story. I'm sorry you missed it, Despina, but maybe I'll tell it another time when.
Well, she can watch it on catch up.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can watch it here on the thing.
Yes,
so
it's a lovely story.
Thank you.
I think it's what was those really classy bears? What were they called? Steve, weren't they? That had the button.
Yeah. So Mike asked if it was some kind of prestige bear, and I was making the joke about being Scottish. The Steve are the really swanky ones, and that's probably
they had the button in the
special
in the corner of the ear. Yeah. And when you said it had been in its time a really classy bear, I was thinking maybe it was one of those.
Yeah.
That had seen better days.
Yeah. So that story was written by me maybe more than 50 years ago for my sister Veronica's daughter. Julie is her name. Her name is Alison Julie. She's my godchild. So I wrote that story for her as a present. And then, of course, with these stories, if you don't tell them, you forget them. And then I just came across it. So my son Dominic, who's my business partner, he said, let's give this text to Elaine to see what she can draw. She's the woman who draws the wee Tom books. So she's done a pretty good job with them, I think.
Well, it's a marvelous job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Michael. It's been a brilliant evening. Do come again to us. Yeah, Louis, anytime. We'll have Michael again, will we? Michael's my Louis makes the
Yes,
judgment.
okay, yeah.
He's my little judge.
Yeah.
He
I
was
even for that story, Louis, I improvised it for you to make sure that there was two King Louis. There was a wee boy King Louis who was, I think he reigned even longer than Queen Elizabeth or something like that, or he held the record for a long, long time because he became the King of France when he was just a little baby. And then he lived to be an old man. He even was older than John Roe, if you can imagine such a creature. Even older than John Roe's joke book. There you go. He lived
No.
Yeah, that's what I heard, John. That's what I heard.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm not offended anyway because I've heard that several times.
It was Donald Nelson who told me about it. So that was the thing. So that's it. So we're all happy to help.
Okay, so what's coming up? Well, obviously on Tuesday, we've got our young international tellers at 5 o'clock UK, Irish and Moroccan time. And next Friday, I think it'll be me, but I might have someone else with me if we're really lucky. I will be with someone else, but I can't announce they're going to join me because I don't want to force them into that position.
Great.
So you might be stuck with just me, or you might be stuck with me and someone that's really good. And so
You're really
then,
good.
yeah, I shall still be in Romania, but I'll be in my house up in the mountains next Friday. Yes, so I'll put the phone outside and we'll be able to see the landscape and everything.
Wow, that is amazing, John.
And then I tell you what we've got coming up. Who's coming? We've got Chip. We've got Chip on for the week afterwards, and then on the Sunday we've got a whole Sunday of broadcasting from the Get a Word in Edgeways Festival, which I believe some certain Greek lady will be at.
Great.
Are you flying across and being there live, Justina?
Come again? Am I flying to
Are you going to be? Is it going to be your actual bodily self there, or are you going to be in virtual reality?
No, I'm going to actually be there. I'm flying my dragon there.
Fantastic.
Flying there. Oh, great. Marvelous.
So you're going to be
Tappy Thomas on Tuesday. I'm going to Ambleside on Tuesday for his gig.
Yeah, I saw that poster on Facebook. It looks magnificent. Give Tappy our love. Well, I saw him the other week at the gathering.
Yes, he said. And my other piece of news that I'm organising with the Glasgow Storytellers here to do a fundraiser for the earthquake appeal on Saturday, the 18th of November, but there'll be more news about that.
Well, because they will still need it. They will still need it. It's not going to be over quickly. Up in the mountains, they're going to have to rebuild whole villages. So well done, you.
Yeah, so I'm quite.
I think the people that are going to keep this in the news and keep it on people's consciousness is the storytellers, and quite rightly, as it is the cradle of storytelling.
Sure, absolutely.
So, and we were all looked after so well there.
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
I'm going to call it. I'm going to thank Waleed for flying the magic carpet as always. There we are. Waleed, who stays silent, is our silent partner. But without him, nothing happens. The essential part of the jigsaw. Okay. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Justina. Bye-bye, Louis. Have a lovely swim. See you next week. Bye-bye, Mike. Bye-bye, Michael and Mike. There we go.
Bye-bye.
Bye.